Hey you guys, it's Gemstone. Today I'm doing another video that isn't related to the tarot. I said I would make an effort to do these like once a week. So this week I wanted to talk about mediumship and I wanted to get you guys' opinion on mediumship. Like, have you had a mediumship reading before? Are you a psychic medium? I would love to know. And how do you feel about communicating with spirits that have passed away? Um is something I'm interested to know too, because I think certain things, even though I think, being a reader, being any kind of reader, where you work in, whether you do tarot, mediumship, I don't know, you read runes, anything that you do, where you're sort of using your intuitive gifts or psychic gifts, um I think obviously you open up yourself to a lot of different beings, and you open up yourself to a lot of different energies. And I think a big thing is, anyone would always advise you to always protect yourself against, all these kind of energies that you can encounter. And um and to be honest, there's been times where I haven't, if I have to be entirely honest with you. And I think even the times when I haven't is because I knew within myself that I was safe. And personally, and this is just my opinion, I think, well, I'll start from the beginning. I have had experience doing mediumship readings in the past, and really I did those in a sort of experimental way, because you guys know I really love the tarot and I love to see how you can use the tarot in different ways. So basically I decided to, try and do some mediumship readings and see how it turns out. And it turned out really well. But and the interesting thing that I came to find with those readings is that spirits that have passed away, usually, like, they can communicate whatever they choose to with you. And what I found in some instances is that the querent might have a question for that person, but the person doesn't even answer the question. Like, they will answer whatever they want to, or they will say whatever they want. Like, they might even talk about somebody else that was a member of their family, instead of even addressing anything to do with the person that asked the question. um but it's no surprise, because when you think about it, I mean, because they were alive once, they would have been just the same way, you and I are. Like, they would have had their favorite relatives or their friends and whatever. And so there's no surprise that when they, pass, they may still want to bring up somebody that was close to them, and stuff like that. So that was really interesting to see. um but I think, the concerns that I have had about mediumship is the whole idea of opening up my energies to somebody that has passed away. I feel that, and this is just me talking, I'm not a psychic medium. I don't feel like, that is my purpose. I can't say that would be the case forever, but what I'm saying now is I don't feel like that is what I'm guided towards. Generally, I love being a tarot reader, and I love generally making readings for people that are alive. Even though it was a really amazing experience, like reading for people that had passed away too, to see what messages they could give to their relatives and stuff like that. But I think some people are just move into that because of the fact that that is where their gifts lie. Like, some people, from the time they were like kids, uh they've had this connection with beings that were deceased, and it's almost like they didn't control it, but it just, that was the case, and that was just their gift that they were born with, and that's their life purpose, to be a medium and to just to serve people in that way. For me, that wasn't the case. I think when I was a kid, I definitely did see spiritual beings. Even when I became older, I still seen spiritual beings. But I don't think that is, in a sense, like my gift to see these things. I think that there's plenty of beings that I think any and everyone have seen, especially ones that are like ghosts, um, because they're everywhere. You know, like imagine how many people have died in this world. So there's a lot of energy from people that are deceased that's still on the planet, and so there's no wonder that people regularly do see ghosts and stuff like that. You would experience those things. It's quite normal. um but and I think that's kind of been my experience when it comes to dealing with those spirits. But I don't really feel like I'm the kind of person that like these spirits have always communicated with and all this other stuff. And I think because of that, it has made me a bit concerned about it, connecting with their energies. Because I personally feel that when it comes to human beings and reading for people that, you know, they just want to know about their own life, their own situation, and it's not like a mediumship type reading. I think even though you are channeling that person's energy, you can shift that person's energy pretty easily. I feel personally. I feel that you can shift it because they are in the free dimension like yourself. And um, a lot of the time, because they're in the free dimension, even though they have an energy that is connected with them, a lot of the time it shifts once the person is sort of out of your proximity. Or even if you're doing a reading and you're channeling with somebody that is like, I don't know, halfway across the world, I feel like still their energy seems to dissipate like quite soon after the reading. It may linger for a bit. Sometimes that can happen. Like, and that you usually you can tell when that's happened, because let's say for instance, if you went from one reading straight to another reading, sometimes you'll be like shuffling up the cards for this next reading, and yet you're still getting messages for that person that you just read for, and that's when you can tell that the energy hasn't dissipated yet, like it's still lingering. And then maybe what you have to do then is maybe you can get your crystals to kind of help clear the energy. Or sometimes if I don't even introduce my crystals in, I will just kind of quiet myself and recenter myself. And then usually if I give myself that break and recenter and everything, to be able to just sort of release that person's reading, like the messages like to go away, then I usually find then right afterwards I shuffle up the cards, and then the message will come through for that person. So sometimes I just feel like the energy just needs a bit of time to just kind of go. um but I think that when you are reading for people that have passed, I don't think their energy just goes like that. I think that there's more that you would have to do to be able to release that energy, because when you think about it, they're a spiritual being. Like, they're just all energy. They don't have a physical form anymore. And so because they don't have a physical form, it's like they have sort of surpassed this sort of physical dimension. And because of that, they have more of an ability to attach themselves to your energy, because of the fact that you are physical form and you have that density. And especially if that spirit has chosen not to go away, they can still stay with you as long as they want to stay with you, particularly if you don't know how to rid yourself of them. And to be honest, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a medium. I'm sure some mediums will probably say that there is like a very particular way you can get rid of all beings, but I don't know. To me, I'm still a bit wary of that, because I just feel like, okay, maybe you might do something that can easily get rid of one, but how do I know that it's gonna easily get rid of I don't know, Uncle Jim that died in 1900 and something that I've channeled. I just, so so for me, like in that respects, I get weary about that kind of thing. Because I just don't think that their energy just shifts like that. But yeah, what I would say, I mean, I am curious to see what you guys like think about mediumship and stuff too. It's interesting because I spoke to somebody who has had quite a lot of mediumship readings, because their his wife had passed away. And I think in some ways it was really beautiful that he was still able to communicate with her and get messages from her. Um, but then at the same time, I felt a bit like, I don't know, talking to him made me kind of sad too, because I felt like um, it was really, really, really hard for him to be able to sort of release, like, after after her passing, like release her spirit, it almost felt like he was really attached and really didn't want to let go of her spirit. And I think a spirit that has fully crossed over, I would think that that's what they would want eventually. Like they would want you to not be so attached to them, because a lot of the time when they have crossed over, they've crossed because they understand that their time here on earth is finished. They won't cross if they don't understand that, or if they don't want to accept it, but they will cross if they have accepted that. And if we talk about um you know uh past lives, future lives, all that kind of stuff, incarnations and stuff, um that person would have made the choice to pass away in the way that they have. And even though they've made that choice, it still doesn't mean that it's easy once they go through it. But because of it, some people will be more accepting of it, and they would want to just go. And even though it's hard for the people that are still alive to release them, a lot of the time I'm sure that's what they would want. They would want you to release them, because they understand that their time here has finished, and they understand that now they're moving on to something else. And they also know that eventually, you're going to come and you're going to be where they are too. And so they know that it's not forever that they're going to be without you. But I think but I think for us, those of us that are still alive, we kind of look at it that way. We look at it like, oh my gosh, like this person is gone, and da, da, da. And that's totally understandable. It's totally understandable for you to miss somebody and stuff. And I think especially in this world, we are very attached to things. We have this ownership complex, that's my son, and that's my mom, and that's mine. And that kind of, and just using that language means that these are things that we identify with ourselves. That's why it's mine. But at the same time, it's not ours. Like nothing is really ours. We don't own anything. I have a son, but I don't own him. He's his own person. But then at the same time, I can totally get that if something does happen to a child of yours, and you go through those kind of experiences, it is so hard. It would be immensely hard to be able to accept that what has happened, and to know that your child is no longer here is painful. um but I also think that there has to be this point, even through the pain, even through all that pain, where we have to sort of come to terms eventually, and we have to be able to um yeah, it's not gonna mend what you feel inside, but there has to be a kind of releasing process that we can go through as well, where we can kind of accept what has happened, and and be able to be like, okay, I will never forget this person. I will always love them. They will always, I'll always cherish them. But I can come to a place where I can not hold on so much to that experience, to the point that, I guess, like the person I was talking to, where you are constantly wanting to contact that person, and constantly wanting to get information from like different readers to know about this person and stuff like that. um like I said, I would really want to believe, like, this wasn't somebody that I read for. This was just somebody that I met at actually a conference that I went to, when I was doing the Soul Coaching Oracle uh, course with Denise Lynn. This was somebody that I met there, and we had a very interesting conversation. And I said, I did feel a bit sad, because I felt like he really didn't want to release the energy of his wife, which I understood. But at the same time, I was a bit like, you know she she's in a better place, and eventually, you have to go through that whole process. um yeah, but it's not easy. It's not. But yeah, I'm just gonna put this video out there because I've been talking for so long. But yeah, tell me what you think, you guys. Okay, bye.